Howdy folks, Rob, MaximumRD, here to do a video response for Lawn Boys Post in 1975. I'm not responding to a tag video, I just felt like doing a video response to his video on why he owned a Megadrive back in the day, a Sega Megadrive. And by the way, if you haven't already, check out Lawn Boys Post 1975's channel. A lot of fun, interesting videos, and one of the catchiest intro tunes here on YouTube. I'll leave a link in the description. If you're not already subscribed, do yourself a favor and check the fellow out. I think you will be pleased. Anyways, back to the subject at hand. Yeah, interesting. Just a little memory I wanted to share. Unlike Lawn Boy, I'm horrible when it comes to recalling things, and as much as I wanted to respond to his 10 video game memories, I just wouldn't be able to do it with any degree of accuracy. But as I was thinking on that subject, I did recall something, and I thought it would be more appropriate for this video on why he owned a Megadrive back in the day. And it was interesting when I was, well, a younger lad than I am now. We had, I was living in Toronto, and we had a store that opened up around the corner, and it was one of those stores that it's probably, in the 10 years you've been there, they probably end up being like 10 different things in this one location. Whatever business moves in there just doesn't seem to last for some reason. Much to my disappointment, in one case at least, which was they had opened up a store that actually had import items. Now, that wasn't as common back in the day. I mean, there was a place in central downtown Toronto that was, a couple places that were known for having import items. Very pricey and very expensive, because they were basically the only place you would get such items. But anyway, this store opened up around the corner from me. And I walked in there one day, and I saw these boxes up on the shelf that said Sega Megadrive. And at that time, I had no idea about import consoles. It's not that I didn't, of course, it's not that I didn't realize that they sold consoles all over the world. I guess I had just assumed that a Sega Genesis was a Sega Genesis. It must be the same all over the world. And so I saw these boxes. I believe it was just for your basic Sega Mega Drive console. Might have had a pack-in game. It was basically a core system, if I recall. But what really grabbed my attention is just the fact that it was like designed like the Model 1 Sega Genesis, but of course instead it said Sega Mega Drive. I'm pretty sure the 16-bit lettering was like had a gold tint to it. I could be remembering wrong. I haven't seen a Sega Mega Drive in person in a while, but there was some striking differences compared to my Sega Genesis that was sitting at home. And okay, I hate to say it, but I'm here in Canada, always have been, and I know a lot of people prefer it, but I just thought the Mega Drive name and logo was cooler. I thought it was more interesting. I liked it. I just liked the sound of it. Mega Drive. It seemed really neat. So and here's the topper. Compared to the places downtown, they weren't asking ridiculous prices. As a matter of fact, the core system that they were selling was quite reasonably priced. I believe it was equal to or what you would pay for a regular Sega Genesis core system at the time. But I was young and, of course, didn't have a lot of extra cash. And did have a Sega Genesis at home, so I couldn't really justify trying to get this system. But I was just struck by all the games they had on the shelf for the Sega, for the Sega Megadrive, and immediately saw all these boxes and the beautiful artwork. Like, I don't know how many you may have been exposed to, but for the most part, the packaging and the artwork for Japanese Mega Drive games is usually a lot more striking, a lot more visual, colorful. Of course, as is typical in a more of an anime style, more imaginative, and of course, in some ways, slightly more risque. Definitely, not only in the packaging, but in some cases, even in some of the games, some shooters and some other games, they might show a touch more nudity and things like that, or at the very least be more suggestive, have a lot more blood in their platforming games or horror games or what have you. And of course, being a younger male at the time, I was, I gravitated more towards that. So to me, it was like a Sega Genesis, but more hard edge, more hardcore. So yeah. So where am I going with this? Anyways, yeah. I just thought it was cool. I like the name Mega Drive more, and although I didn't pick up the system, I would have loved to have done that. I did pick up a few games. Please excuse me, once again, my memory escapes me. But one was a shooter, definitely, and I remember looking at the packaging, and it was very alien-esque. Of course, again, with the artwork, there was a lot more, I guess, gory-looking scenes in it, and more of the environment that you were flying your ship in seemed to be like the inside of an alien, and it was just really cool looking. So that was one game that I got. I think there was a platform action game, something Sorcerer or something like that. Again, I apologize. But that looked cool to me. And one other game, I can't recall at all. And again, they were going for pretty good prices, which may explain why they ended up going under in the long run. But anyways, I bought those games because the packaging was just, so cool to look at, and I was really excited to get these new games for my Sega Genesis. You might see where this is going already. And I rushed home with them, which, didn't take me long because it was right down the street, around the corner from me, where I lived. And I open up these boxes, and I go to plug it in and realize I can't plug it in. And then here's the funny thing. Nowadays, it's very common. Most people say, oh, hey, no problem, just stick it on top of a Game Genie, plug it into your system. Or simply file down the sides, and you can pop that cartridge right in there. And some people are very much, oh God, no, I wouldn't touch my original console. I wouldn't do that. And I think I related this story before, now that I recall. Anyway, so I apologize if any of you have heard this before. But I did. It just seemed to be a natural thought to me. I always like to tinker and take things apart. So it was no thought to me. First, I had taken a cartridge apart, I guess doing it in reverse, and I just plugged the bare board from the cartridge right in and saw that it worked. It booted up and played fine. But I thought to myself, well, I don't want to be doing this to all these beautiful looking cartridges. And then, of course, it just hit me. You know, nowadays, again, very common. You would find this on the internet or what have you. But I just thought to myself, well, the cartridge doesn't fit. How do I make it fit? It's got round edges. File down the sides of the slot on the Sega Genesis. And that's exactly what I did. Yeah, just where the flaps are for the cartridge slot. I actually took the top off of the Sega Genesis, got a file, and well, first I got little tiny pliers basically, and I just kind of cracked off the edges, and then very time-consumingly, because I didn't really have real tools or a Dremel or anything like that. So I think I used like my mom's nail file or something like that. And it took me forever, mind you. But I did it. I filed down the sides of the cartridge slot in the Genesis console. And, you know, constantly blowing the dust away. And I would try to plug the cartridge in. It wouldn't quite go yet. So I kept at it and kept at it till in the end the corners of the cartridge slot were smooth, and yeah, and the cartridges, of course, the rounded edge Megadrive cartridges plugged right in. Turn it on, booted right up, no problem at all. At least with the 3 games that I had. So yeah, that was cool, and you know, I brought these Megadrive cartridges to school, and they were quite the conversation piece at the time. Again, because really importing and stuff wasn't really big at the time. Yeah, so that's my little story there. That was my exposure to the Sega Mega Drive, my original exposure to it, and although I didn't have the system, and I still don't to this day, I still wouldn't mind getting a hold of one. I just like the look and the sound of Mega Drive. I just thought it was really cool. I love the artwork. I love the packaging, and the games, the style just grabs you on the Sega Mega Drive. So that's it. That's my video response to lawnboyspost1975. Check out his channel and listen to his catchy intro. Rob MaximumRD out. Thanks for watching. And I'll just pause here for a moment because usually these webcam videos get cut short. So, bye.